Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
Hello, everyone, and thank you very much for being here. It is 11:02 in Edmonton, and you are listening to Edmonton Sports Talk on TuneIn, on iHeart, or at edmontonsportstalk.com. You can text us anytime, 780-218-9999. And if you're watching over on YouTube today, hammer the thumbs up for us. Get active in that nasty chat as well. Look at some of your text messages. NHL Slate tonight. Edmonton Oilers are in action against the Vancouver Canucks. EST Parlay is already up as well. If you've not yet signed up for an account at Coolbet, please do. Use the code LOCKSHOP when you do at Coolbet.com, and you'll get a nice little deposit bonus when you sign up for the first time. All right, let's bring in Jake today. Jake's going to join us. Jake, is Huss going to try to hop on at some point, or is it... I know he had the dentist, and the last I heard, he said, I'm getting Jake just in case I'm still frozen, and I partially want half frozen mouth Huss on the lockdown today.
Yeah, based on the text he sent me, it sounded like he was probably out of commission for the lock shop. He just said, "Hey, do you mind jumping on in my place?"
Oh yeah, I see that now. Yeah.
And I don't know if I'm going to be good to go by then. I assume he's doing WST today. I don't know. Like, is it going to be a Remus show today? I'm not too sure, but hopefully Huss is healing well. I'm sure he's ready to go. I know you're out of town tomorrow.
I am. Yeah, I got a out of town tournament tomorrow, so
yeah, that'll be fun. I heard you talking about it in the show this morning.
Should be good, yeah.
That'll be a good time, and Patty and Huss and I will hold it down for the NFL episode. But I'm sure you'll send us some picks, and
I'm making my picks today, buddy.
We'll see. We'll try to. I know it's tight with a few games left, but maybe we can all agree on maybe 3 touchdown scores or something along those lines.
Oh, there could be something we might be able to find. I decided, just like Huss last week, I'm going to give out my NFL picks today. So you guys will have those. So we'll dive into that. I spent a little bit of time on this morning and last night getting my picks ready for both the AFC and NFC championship games. So we'll certainly get into that. Have you ever had a root canal, Jake? Like Huss has gone through the root canal.
Never had a root canal. I got my wisdom teeth taken out a few years back, and my face swelled up pretty good. Maybe I'll fire that picture on Twitter and people can have a look. But to the point where I was like 4 or 5 days into it. And it wasn't getting better. And I'm like, maybe I'll have a fat face forever. Like, maybe I'm just going to be swollen face for the rest of my life. Like, those are thoughts that had crossed my mind. So that's probably the most I've gotten work on my teeth. I also did, this is a crazy one. I had a tooth growing in the roof of my mouth that they had to surgically remove when I was like pretty young, maybe.
Come on.
Between 6 and 8. Yeah. So
just in the middle?
Right in the middle, roof of my mouth, and they had to put me out and surgically remove it. And so that happened when I was, pretty young, probably still in grade school or whatever.
Jeez.
So
you're like a shark with the extra row of teeth or whatever it is.
Yeah, pretty wild. So that's what I got. No root canals yet, though. Hopefully I don't have to have any of those, but hopefully Huss is doing all right.
I had to have a root canal. I don't know. I had like a toothache for months, and I don't know why I kept pushing it off. I was like 24, 25, working in radio down in Lethbridge, and my girlfriend at the time was like, "Stop being an idiot. Go get." I used to take Oragel and like jam it into like a little hole that I had in my tooth, and just like for months on end. And then finally, I was like, "Okay, fine. I'll just go get it done." So I went and got it done, and I have a crown. They had to. But I think because I'm a huge wimp. So one of the reasons I was like, oh man, that's going to hurt too much. Like I'll just keep pumping this Oragel into my open tooth cavity. And I didn't feel a thing. Like it was just great. I was just like, oh, this is perfect. Root canal's done. The guy's like, I thought they were just going to get started on it. He goes, no, it's all done. It's taken care of. I was like, wow. That's incredible. So hopefully Huss has that same experience, because I never did the wisdom teeth thing. Like, I think mine are still somewhere in this big mouth of mine. So
that was not my experience with the wisdom teeth.
No.
They had like gone in, they kept checking on them, right? Like every dentist appointment, they would check on them, like, okay, probably gonna have to do this soon, Finally, they schedule it, and I get in there and I'm sitting in the chair, and you're out, but you're still awake. It's one of those ones.
Oh God.
And you can hear them like digging pretty good. And then he wraps up and he's like, yeah, so they were a little more impacted than we expected. They pulled all 4 of them out. Like a little bit more impacted than we expected. So expect some pretty good swelling. Like, I got to get this picture up now because we're talking about it.
I got to see fat face Jake here. Like, I need to see this.
Maybe I can do it as we're chatting.
Yeah.
I have it saved somewhere. So you can still hear me all right, right?
Yeah, I can still hear you. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll fire on Twitter here, and I'll tag Lock Shop.
So for everybody who is wondering if Huss was going to freeze up today on the show, he already has been frozen up today at the dentist office, and hopefully, look, we tell him. I text him every day. Huss, I remind him, brush your teeth today, Huss. Like, brush your teeth today. You won't need to get a root canal. It's a good
reminder.
Unfortunately, it has happened anyway. A couple of Connor Garland texts say, oh, look at Ron. Ron says, yeah, I had that too, like a fang growing sideways behind my 2 front teeth on the roof of my mouth. That's weird. Big Maple says, I have 4 extra teeth, but I'm unsure if they would replace a tooth if it all fell out. Not looking to find out either. Did Jake freeze up too? What are the odds? Yeah, I can still hear you. The video freeze up?
Yes. Yeah, I'm trying to find this damn picture.
Oh, you might have gone away from the camera app, probably. Hey, is that what happened?
Yeah.
Okay, he'll be back as long as you're there.
I'll be back in a second. Yeah, I'm here.
We'll his video will click back in. You know what I found out? This is weird. It made me feel like every other dentist I've ever been to in my entire life was awful. Sorry for the dentist stories here. We got lots of time in Lock Shop today, so don't worry. But it was like probably 3-4 years ago, and I always had like sort of a little bit of a gap between my one big tooth and the one next to it. And I go into my dentist here in town, Bob Ridley Jr., great dentist if you're looking for a dentist. And he goes, you're missing a tooth, right? I said, what are you talking about? And he goes, you're missing, like the tooth that's supposed to be next to your front tooth is not there. I said, nobody's ever told me that in my entire life. He goes, yeah, that's why it looks slightly gappy here. So then he just sort of filled it in and it was fine. But yeah, I literally, I don't know, when I go see him when I was like 36. So for 36 years of my life, not a single dentist told me that I was missing one of my front teeth, which was kind of bizarre. Yeah,
that is pretty crazy.
Yeah, but he got it done. Are you still looking for the picture, or are you legitimately?
I got it now. Okay. I'm sending it to myself, and so I can get back to the camera here.
Okay. We will get to my NFL picks today as we work our way through the show. You can text us anytime, 780-218-9999. And of course, over on YouTube, you can chime in as well. Hammer the thumbs up for us there over on YouTube, if you wouldn't mind. We appreciate that. There he is. Jake's back on that one. Did you tweet out the picture?
I'm tweeting it right now.
Okay, perfect.
To my laptop. Excellent. So I could get back on camera here.
We'll get to the NHL last night. We do have the EST parlay already up over at Coolbet. If you would like to ride with us on that game tonight, put it together. Not expecting an overly offensive game tonight, so it's not easy to build one of these parlays. However, Leon Draisaitl will get his. I do think that's a matter of fact. So Draisaitl over 1.5 points, and then we decided to go Arvidsson and Bouchard both with just a point, and then the Oilers to win money line at plus 315. So if you want to ride with us there, Coolbet.com, click on exclusives, then you'll see Edmonton Sports Talk parlay, and then you can join us over there on that one, and we'll get to all of the NHL games tonight here in just a second as well. We were texting a little bit yesterday. And about you were in the chat yesterday, Jake, talking about the Maple Leafs and probably like the total more than a side in this one. And, Columbus had not been good on the road so far this season. And I know Pat last night said, man, we were robbed that the over at least didn't cash in that hockey game. I have to ask you, what happened to the Toronto Maple Leafs last night?
Yeah, I mean, face value, you look at the score 5-1 and you think, the Leafs probably got owned, but they controlled a lot of the game. Like it was weird. Like every time Columbus happened to get a little bit of pressure in the zone, they would score. And it was, a little bit frustrating. Hildeby letting a few weak ones. He actually got sent back down to the AHL today. Matt Murray getting called back up for the Leafs. So Yeah, it's just one of those weird games. They had been on they had that skid, and Nylander said, it's 3 games. What's there to worry about? And they went on a hot streak. Yeah,
sorry, buddy. I just saw your picture. You look like you're in a fat suit. Like that. Right? That's insane. Oh my God. You don't even look like the same dude. You look like
it was crazy.
Yeah. You look like in one of what was it, the Eddie Murphy movies when he like dresses up as like every member of the family or whatever.
Myers. Oh yeah.
My God, that's insane. You were like that for 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, like I literally was like I was getting nervous that it wasn't coming down. So it was pretty scary.
I'm sorry to laugh, but you are a good sport for posting that picture, man.
I'm hoping Huss.
That's insane.
Huss doesn't look like that.
Oh man, if you are watching on YouTube right now, you got to bring up Twitter. You got to go to Jake Bolin Moss on Twitter. I'm going to read. Oh my God, that is just legendary.
Retweet it. Go ahead. It's
all right, man. It's just
all good.
I wonder if did anybody tell you that you had like an unnormal reaction to it, or is that how everybody is after the wisdom teeth?
No, it's not everybody. Everyone kind of reacts differently because I show people that, and people are like, "Oh my God, like I was never that bad." But like I said, my dentist did tell me, he's like, "Your teeth were more impacted than we expected. We had to really dig in there, so expect some pretty good swelling." And yeah, I think that was probably 3 or 4 days after I got them out.
What?
It was going up, and then it finally started to come back down. Like, it wasn't getting better. That's why I was getting nervous. I was like, this is never going to get better. Like, I'm just going to be fat-faced Jake forever. So, yeah.
And you know what also goes well with it is, what are you wearing, like a bandana around your neck or a handkerchief or something?
Yeah, so I had one of those, like, just the ones that wrap around, almost like a balaclava.
Okay, yeah.
It was holding my ice in place on my cheeks because I was trying to ice it to get the swelling down.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's what it was holding it in place, but. Yeah, that's my favorite one because I'm like kind of smiling in that one, and yeah, it looks like I have a filter on. That's what we always described it, like I have a fat face filter on.
Yeah. Oh man,
yeah,
that's a riot,
guys. It's on my Twitter at Jake Bolin Moss. Little shameless plug there. I'm sure people will get a good laugh at it.
Hey, at least you haven't had any problems since, probably, right?
No
wisdom teeth. It's all good.
Since. No wisdom teeth problems. Yeah. Anyways, we don't have to go deep into the Leafs. I know people on this show.
Great tilt last night, though. It was a good fight.
Listen,
Holy smokes!
Reeves finally fought, and Olivier is a competitor that he can go up against. And I wonder how much Reeves' comments got into the heads of some of these tougher guys. Like, did you see what Reeves said? Not that I like
after the Wi-Fi stuff with Montreal.
But he was just like, yeah, like it's a tough look when you turn one down, which I understood him. It's 3-0 at that point.
Yeah,
and Montreal was dictating the pace of that game, and.
There really was no reason for Jack Guy to take that fight. No, I understand where he was coming from too.
But it's you end up in it could be a lose-lose situation where if he would have taken the fight and they would have got momentum back and Leafs would have came back, it would have been a tough look. He doesn't take the fight. The Leafs, find a way back into the game and then, drop 7 in a row on you. It just ended up being a lose-lose. But, I don't blame Jack Guy for that. Like that was kind of a situation where, he wasn't set up in a good spot. So I wonder how much those comments, were thought about Olivier. He didn't turn down a fight, and he's a pretty big heavyweight himself. Reeves went down early, popped back up. Good scrap though. I think both the guys were even in the box after. They looked like they were both like, yeah, that was a good tilt. Like, no hard feelings or whatever. But Leafs drop a tough one. They're in Ottawa on Saturday night, so another team that's in this crazy Eastern Conference playoff race. Like, I don't know if you've looked at that side of the standings.
It's crazy, man.
Wild over there.
It's nuts. That's going to be one of the best things about the stretch drive is going to be this race for playoff spots in the East, that there aren't a lot of great teams involved, but there are hungry and desperate teams involved, and they're pretty much quite a ways back of the pack. Now, the weird thing is that Tampa has some games in hand on these teams, but like Tampa isn't clearing away. It's Toronto, it's Florida, it's Washington, it's Carolina, and it's the Devils. Those 5 teams are pretty much secured. Tampa has some games in hand, but is just like 3 points up on the Philadelphia Flyers, who are 4 spots out of a playoff spot right now. But yeah, this race, like, who would you count? Like, Buffalo's out, the Islanders are out. Red Wings had that hot stretch. They've been cold lately. But would you still say like Detroit, Pittsburgh in the mix?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Like they're 4 points out, 4 points, 5 points out of a playoff spot. They're still there.
I think, not many. Yeah, I'd say Pittsburgh's probably still in the mix. The only problem is you got to jump a lot of teams, right?
Yeah.
So the only thing with being that low, and we've heard the comments around Dubas that there might be a fire sale and he might be shipping everybody out, which will be interesting. That's, I think, what teams like the Leafs and the Oilers might run into issues is, as we inch closer and closer to the deadline here, how many teams are really going to be willing to be sellers when everyone's still in the race? I think Buffalo, like you said, they're out. They could probably sell. I think the Islanders could probably sell. A lot of guys around that team that have, some conversation around players like Brock Nelson, JG Pajot, San Jose. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at the West now. San Jose, Chicago, even Nashville, Anaheim. Those teams we could maybe be seeing as sellers, which is hilarious because Nashville, like Huss always likes to remind us, they were the off-season champs, and to see how low they are in the stands is pretty bad. But yeah, the East, like how many of these teams are actually going to be sellers, Dusty? I think that's the question you ask yourself. Like, is Detroit going to sell? Probably not. They'll probably try to, work their way up the standings. Montreal is right in the mix. Ottawa, Columbus, Boston, New York, Tampa. Like, I don't know what's going to happen, Dusty. And you might be paying a premium for some of these rental guys if you're the Leafs, the Jets, the Oilers, the Capitals. Like, you never really know, right?
Well, you know what? The team that's in the best spot here is the New York Islanders. Like, I know they're not where they want to be, but with these other teams maybe not willing to mail it in and not willing to sell. I mean, Brock Nelson, UFA, definitely could move him. Kyle Palmieri, UFA, there'd be interest in him. Matt Martin, I don't know what you do there, but like as a bottom six guy that can go and hit on the fourth line for the playoffs, he's a UFA. There might even be interest in him. Like they could really get a haul for some of these guys just because nobody else has guys that they want to move so far. So it could be a really, really good spot for the Islanders to be in. You mentioned JG Pajot. He's got 2 years left, but that's a guy that teams would be very interested in come playoff time as well. So
you get a little bit of term with a guy.
Yeah.
Like, you might be willing to pay more. Like that could drive the price up for a guy like Pajot. I don't think the Islanders are necessarily having like a down year. I kind of just think they're kind of in limbo right now.
Yeah.
And, I wouldn't be like, if I'm an Islanders fan, I'm not really like excited for next year. Get as many assets as you can, try to rebuild this thing and see how quickly you can turn it around. I think that's the goal for the Islanders.
All right, if you are watching over on YouTube today, we are going to get to our best bets in the National Hockey League tonight, and then I'll give you my NFL picks, and we'll take a look at some of those lines as well. An okay slate tonight. We've had busier Thursdays, but we do have some games to get to, and let's break through. It's a pretty good night tonight.
11 games.
How many? 11?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not bad. Shesterkin will start for the Rangers tonight. That is confirmed. Samuel Ersson will go for the Philadelphia Flyers. Freddie Anderson is listed as likely for the Carolina Hurricanes. Blue Jackets, second half of a back-to-back for them. Tarasov likely to go for CBJ. Talbot will go. This is a huge game here. Boy, Detroit and Montreal tonight. Talbot will start for the Red Wings. Montembeault confirmed for the Montreal Canadiens. Bruins and Sens tonight. Korpisalo and Forsberg are both unconfirmed at this point. Utah is in Minnesota. Vamelka will start for the Hockey Club, and for the Minnesota Wild, confirmed it is Philip Gustafsson. Hofer will go for the Blues tonight. They're at home against the Vegas Golden Knights. Aiden Hill is listed as unconfirmed at this point. Calvin Pickard will start for the Oilers tonight against the Vancouver Canucks. Demko unconfirmed at this point. Dustin Wolf will start for the Flames. The Buffalo Sabres are there. Sabres were just in Vancouver. They're coming here to Edmonton on Saturday. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen is unconfirmed at this point. Charlie Lindgren will get the start for the Capitals in Seattle after Logan Thompson was brilliant here against Edmonton on Tuesday. Joey Daccord is unconfirmed for the Kraken. And then the second last game of the night, Gibson and Nedeljkovic, both of those guys unconfirmed. Pittsburgh is in Anaheim to take on the Ducks. And then two teams that we're just talking about kind of being basement dwellers in the West. San Jose, Askarov is unconfirmed, and UC Saros is unconfirmed for the Nashville Predators. So 11 games on tap tonight in the National Hockey League. If you have any favorite plays, share them over in the Nasty Chat on YouTube. Give us a thumbs up when you're there. And you can text them to us as well at 780-218-9999, where Jeffy has texted in today. And it says, I got an infection after a tooth extraction, which made half my face balloon. It's the worst. I feel you, Jake. So the support is out there for you, Jake. The support is definitely out there for you.
Yeah, I saw someone reply to my tweet too, and they were like, "Oh, like hoping you get better." I don't look like that. I'm here. This is what I look like now. But yeah, this is probably 5 or 6 years ago. But I guess when you just post a photo, I try to give some context, like it's a lock shop context photo. But anyways, Big Maple also said we're ready to get hurt again in the den. They want to relaunch the DJ and Den parlay. I think we can make that happen.
Let's do that.
No problem. So
let's do that too.
I'll jump in there after the show.
Somebody replied to the tweet after I tweeted and said, I had to laugh at this. I'm literally sitting in the waiting room waiting for my wife to get out of wisdom teeth surgery.
Come on.
So old K Dusty over on Twitter might have a fat faced wife coming out of there. Who knows?
Oh goodness. Well, I'm hoping for K Dusty's wife that it's not as bad as I got it.
All right, Jake, 11 games tonight. What's jumping off the slate for you here?
You know what? It's a bit juicy, but if we're talking parlays, the first one that caught my eye was the Wild. They're getting some help back. Kirill's back. Spurgeon's back there to bolster that PP1. I think they're getting healthier, and they've managed to stay, pretty on par with the Jets after how hot the Jets were to start. They got 2 games in hand on them right now, and there's only 7 points back of them. Utah been a bit streaky. They started pretty well, kind of fell off there. They're kind of, they're in the race. 47 points. They're, 4 points off the second wild card right now. Calgary's got a game in hand on them. I just think, a boost like a guy like Kirill, their captain, coming back on the back end. I think it's a nice boost for a team like Minnesota. Getting them right around a minus 150 number, I don't mind at all.
Yeah, first game on the road for Utah in quite some time, too. They just finished up a 7-game homestand. So we'll see how it is for them as they get back out on the road. And for a parlay, the minus 149, certainly not too chalky for us on a parlay tonight. So yeah, Minnesota, I don't mind that. Gustafsson will be starting there for the Minnesota Wild. He did also, like the Wild themselves, start the season pretty red hot, but it's cooled off a bit lately. But I do like that spot there. Utah's won. They won, I think, their last 2 before they headed out on the. Yeah, they beat St. Louis 4-2, beat Winnipeg 5-2, and now head on the road. I can see a little bit of a letdown spot there for Utah. You mentioned a boost incoming there for the Minnesota Wild. Any thoughts at all on this Montreal-Detroit game? I think it's the closest game odds-wise on the schedule tonight, which is understandable considering what we were just talking about with the standings. Are you leaning one where I mean, there's a lot of games you don't have to put it on, but I'm just curious for your thoughts on that Montreal-Detroit game.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you look at both the Sens-Bruins game and the Montreal-Detroit game, both huge games for this Eastern Conference battle we're talking about, like big 4-point swing territory, right? You're praying these games don't go to OT.
Yeah.
If you're on either side of this. So, in terms of the Montreal game, I'd probably lean the dog just with how hot Montreal's been. They had the blip to Toronto, but have really been like strong. And even that first period against Toronto, they dictated the pace of that game. They were controlling the puck in the offensive zone. Like, I was nervous, especially with how hot they had been. Obviously, the Leafs found a way to get going there in the second, and then they didn't look back. But let's look at their recent games here. They've dropped 3 of their last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 3 of their last 13, Dusty. Like, this team's been hot as ever, and they're, you guys do it on your show. They play the old road dog clip.
Yeah.
I don't mind the road dog in this spot, plus 103. I see it as more of a pick'em with how hot Montreal has been. I know Detroit's in the race as well, but, Montreal's not sitting pretty by any means in terms of the standings. They need wins just as bad as Detroit does.
Yeah, as Penner Pancake says, man, it's hard to bet against the Habs right now. Yeah, I would agree with you. Big Uke says the Canes, the Wild, and the Oil all in regulation is plus 471. Wild was plus 108 in regulation. One of the other games that I was looking at, and it's interesting. Flyers, Rangers. Philly has won 5 of their last 6, have points in 6 in a row. The Rangers actually have points in 8 straight games. Now, 3 of them were overtime losses, but the other 5 were wins. So they are 5-0-3 in their last 8, including a win over Vegas, pretty good team, win over New Jersey, overall a pretty good team. Hasn't been great lately. They lost to Dallas in overtime. They lost to Colorado in overtime, and they lost to the Red Hot Habs in overtime, 5-4. I mean, they're coming off a 5-0 win against Ottawa. I don't want to take anything away from Philly's recent streak, but I think I like Shesterkin and the Rangers tonight to continue what they've been doing as of late. That's -154. You mentioned the Habs at +103. Big Uke has Carolina in regulation on one of his tickets. That's a -357 money line number. The home tie away, -213 just for them to win in regulation. Maybe not for a parlay. Well, I mean, you could throw it into a parlay.
I did like the Rangers as well. I'll second your thought there. I just, they had that weird skid, and, there was a lot of conversation going on out of there, like what's going to happen with their guys. They seem to have kind of righted the ship here a bit, like you said, points in their last 8. Similar situation as like 3 big games in the East tonight, Dusty. You just look at it like just staring at the schedule. Ottawa, Boston, Montreal, Detroit, Philly, New York. All 3 games, huge for standings wise. Like that wild card race is going to be awesome down the stretch, like we talked about. So I mean, definitely on board for the Wild, definitely on board for the Rangers. If we got one more to throw in there, I don't mind the Habs. I don't know if that's something we want to.
Well, I just looked at the Habs. On. The Habs, if we put the Habs in with the Rangers and the Wild, we're at +460. So it certainly is a nice value booster with that +103 number on the Habs. I'm just trying to look and see if I like anything else in there. I know.
The other one, Dusty, like, are we sniffing out the fishy line here with the Capitals? Why are they only -141? I know they're on the road in Seattle, but Seattle by no means has been a strong team here as of late. Caps just continue to roll. Like all they do is win hockey games.
Yeah, I was wondering. Like Charlie Lindgren's.
5 in a row they've won.
Charlie Lindgren's going to start.
Regulation in 10.
Yeah, Logan. Yeah. No, I mean, I just watched them play, and they only had 14 shots against the Oilers, but Logan Thompson was absolutely brilliant in between the pipes. You make a good point on the sketchiness of that line, and like, is it going to work? Are we going to sit here right now and buy into it? Let me just. I think it's over 11 games now because I think they were unbeaten in 10 coming in regulation to Edmonton. Seattle is at home coming off wins against LA and Buffalo. What's Charlie Lindgren? Like this, maybe this line is a Charlie Lindgren line. Like what is,
I mean, I guess Seattle hasn't been too bad. They've got 4 of their last 6, but they beat Buffalo in 2 of those. Beating LA is a pretty good win. They beat Pittsburgh, lost 2-1 to the Jets, 6-2 to the Red Wings. And prior to that, had lost 4 in a row. Canucks, Oilers, Jersey, and Columbus.
I just brought up Charlie Lindgren. So far on the road this season, he's had 13 starts. He's won 7. He's 7-5-1 on the Capitals have 10 regulation losses this season. 5 of them have come in Charlie Lindgren road starts. So I don't mean I guess I'm not saying I wouldn't be on the Capitals, but I think that justifies where the number's at. Like, I think that's why we're looking at that number going, oh, he's got an 890. Logan Thompson's 22, 2-3 or something. Like, it doesn't matter. They could play Logan Thompson on the moon right now and he'd pick up a regulation victory. But
not in the 4 nations.
Yeah, he can't make the roster.
Anywhere but the 4 nations.
899 is Lindgren's save percentage on the road as well. So, oh man, P. Greg, you're from the nasty chat. Jake Bolin Kump from the.
Actually, what it reminded me of back when I had it was when Crosby had the mumps, and they had that picture of him, and he looked like insane. That's kind of what it reminded me of. Like if I had the mumps, that's what it looks like. But obviously I've gotten some conversation going over on the old Twitter machine.
You certainly have. What about Vegas, St. Louis? I mean, we have 2 games that we definitely like. Rangers -154, Minnesota -149. I think we would both okay throwing Montreal in there. But Vegas on the road against St. Louis -143. I just want to dive into this one here for a little bit. Let's see here.
Vegas actually on a bit of a skid. They've lost 4 in a row now. They're on the road. Let's see how they've been on the road this season. 11-8-3, not too impressive away from Vegas, which doesn't surprise me. Like, that place usually is rocking when they're at home. They've actually dropped 6 of their last 7, Dusty.
Hofer's going to start 2.74 and a 906. He's 10-4-1 so far on the season. He
starts here with Hill and Samsonov. They can't find a guy that they're comfortable with right now, it looks like. They lost to Chicago, Nashville. They just lost to St. Louis in the shootout at home. Also lost to both New York teams. They beat Minnesota in there as well in this 7-game slump they've been going on here. I don't know. It's just hard to get behind Vegas with how bad they've been.
No, I still like Montreal more, even at plus 103. Like, it's a better number, and I think I like them more in that spot right now. So I feel like we're almost trying to find a way to avoid putting the Habs in there. So let's just put the Habs in there.
I agree. I think that's the way to go. Because nothing else really catches my eye. Like, Nashville, too big of a favorite on the road in San Jose. Pittsburgh, hard to get behind them right now. We'll keep the Oilers game out of it. You know, Sabres, Flames, unless you have a lean there. I don't. Personally.
No, I don't.
I think we stick with what we got there. Canadians, Rangers, Wild, all to win. Should be over 5-1 by the time we get it up in the combos.
Yeah, so that'll be up in the combo cards at the top at Coolbet. When you go to Coolbet, you look along the top, you'll see a bunch of combo cards, and then the EST parlay will be down in the exclusives. Had some people this morning asking about the poker tournament, of course. Jake, I know you were looking into it yesterday. Is it up for registration just yet?
I don't think it's up just yet. I did reach out to our poker guys, though, so they were going to get to work on it. Going to update the old landing page there, and I think what we'll do is, I just don't know if Huss is going to be able to access Coolbet while he's down there.
Yeah.
So Huss might be out. I think Remus, though, will be in for WST. We'll have, I'm sure, a ton of WSTers in the tournament as well. And then I texted with you yesterday, so I think what we'll do is we'll have bounties on you.
Oh, boy.
Tommy, Awanek, and Remus will be the plan, I think.
Oh, wow.
So I think that'll kind of be the plan for this one. It's a little unorthodox, I know, because we wanted Huss in it, but I just can't guarantee that he's going to be able to do it while he's down in Costa Rica. But we still wanted to run the tournament, obviously.
Yeah,
and it was an off day for the Jets and Oilers. I looked at other dates. It just didn't really work out any other time. So we're going to continue to roll it. And there'll still be some of your guys in there. I'm sure we'll have Remus in there. And then
4 bounties sitting out there. I mean, that's nice.
Yeah, I think that'll be the way we go about it. So we'll get the landing page updated, and we'll get the poker tournament in there. Once it's in there, I'll let you know, and then
nobody technically needs to register for a poker tournament 6 days in advance anyway. But
listen, Dusty,
whenever it's up, let me know. I'll pass it along.
Most of the time, people don't register until the day of, anyways. So
yeah, well, a lot of the time, people won't register until the tournament begins. Man, it'll be like, look, they're here now. So. Yeah, but next Wednesday night, 8:00 Edmonton time, 9:00 Winnipeg time for any of our WSTers. It'll be Lock Shop Poker Series. Is this number 5? Like, was our first one in September?
I was trying to figure it out the other day.
Did we bang one out in August? I can't remember. It's at least number 5.
It's at least 5. I think 5 sounds right to me.
I think it's 5. So we will have that for you next Wednesday. I will be streaming it again right here on the Edmonton Sports Talk channel as well if you would like to watch, if you're playing in the tourney, or if you're not, you just want to pop in and watch somebody completely implode on themselves when they think they have a good hand, but they actually don't because they don't know everything about poker and lose, then I will have that for you next Wednesday night right here on YouTube. All right, Jake, I've got my picks. You guys will be doing your picks tomorrow. Huss gave us his earlies last week because he was going to Arrowhead. I'm going to High River, Alberta. It's a little bit of a different jaunt, but I'll dish out my picks right now. And I'm going to start with the Commanders game. Let's start with Commanders and Eagles. And I am emotionally torn on this one. I sat there. I went over 4 or 5 different of my regular websites and previews and trends, and I'm trying to read through this. And what am I on the year in the playoffs so far? 4. Because I was 3
in the pack.
Yeah, but it's not impressive. I'm like 4, 5, and 1 is leading the pack right now. 2 of my 4 wins have just been being on the Commanders plus the points. I was on them against the Lions, and then I was on them in week 1 as well. So they're kind of my guys. I am concerned, though, about their inability to stop the run. And against Detroit, like, Detroit got in trouble when they were throwing the ball. Simple as that. Like, if Detroit would have just kept running the football, we know it would have been a closer game for sure. But I think they probably win the football game if instead of giving Jahmyr Gibbs 14 touches, they give Jahmyr Gibbs 25 touches. Mm-hmm. So I don't see Philly falling into the same sort of trap, if you want to call it, that the Detroit Lions did. And to me, the weakest unit in this game on either side of the ball, special teams, defenses, offenses, is Washington's defense against the run. And I don't see a world where Saquon doesn't get 25 to 30 bloody carries in this football game. Like, if the Eagles want to advance to the Super Bowl, hand the ball off to Saquon and let him do his thing. So but I'm a Commanders guy. Like, I've been with them. I don't know how I can doubt Jaden Daniels so far this year. Here's an interesting note that I saw. Like I told you, what was it, in week 1? I think it was week 1. You laid out those rookie stats, and I said, well, good news is 19 rookies have done this, and Jaden Daniels is probably better than all of them, so I'm going to stick with Jaden Daniels. How about this? The Commanders are just the 8th team since 2000 to enter a playoff game, having it be their 4th straight game on the road. The previous 7 teams to do this went 0-7 straight up, so none of them won. And they were 1-5-1 against the spread. So only one of them covered the spread. My brain is saying take the, but you know what? I will say this about the Eagles too. And Saquon Barkley's going to run for at least 150 yards in this football game. Book it. Like, I would be stunned if that doesn't happen. But what have you thought of the Eagles outside of Saquon so far in the playoffs?
Not very impressive. Like, Jalen Hurts hasn't, he had the big run last game, which was a huge Kickstarter for that offense. But in terms of their passing offense, it hasn't been that impressive. The good thing for the Eagles is that's a great O-line, especially in the run game, and a great running back where they can just continue to lean on him. It's a tough spot, Dusty. I'm glad I don't have to pick until tomorrow, so I get one more day to decide. Yeah. But I know where you're at, because it's like your heart says Jaden and your head says Philly, and it's hard to come to grips with what makes the most sense. The only thing I'll say about the Commanders is you're getting 6.5, or you're gonna have to get 6. Sorry, yeah, you're getting 6 with the Commanders as opposed to the Eagles. You're gonna need a win by a touchdown or more to cover.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not like Stafford wasn't able to move the ball on the Eagles last week. He had a chance late in the game to take the lead.
Well, and I mean, Jaden Daniels did hang like 36 on the Eagles a month ago. And Jalen Hurts was injured in that game, so he wasn't around. It was a Kenny Pickett game. But going into that game, everybody was talking about how good the Eagles defense has been as of late. And Jaden Daniels still found a way, which was critical for me in fantasy football semifinals, to just have an absolutely monster game. So I'm probably going to come back to regret that, but I'm going to ride with Jaden Daniels in the 6, because for him, the glue guy is a big Commanders guy. It's like I do believe that he will have to be close to perfect in this football game if they're going to have a chance to win it or cover the 6. But I do think he's capable of being close to perfect. So Philly might be able to run the ball a ton, and Saquon will get his. But when Jaden Daniels has the football, no turnovers, no mistakes, and you should be able to keep it close. So I guess I'll go Commanders plus 6, but I'm torn on this one because I'm just so worried that they're not going to be able to stop Saquon, and the Eagles won't get in their own way like the Lions did and blow this football game.
Oh, I'm so interested to see what happens with this line too. I think it opened 5.5 up to 6. And, we kind of expected to sit around that number, but we saw last week with the Rams line where, if you got it earlier in the week at 6, you would have got the push with the Eagles. But if you would have got the Rams up at 7 where it ended, you would have covered, right? So like, you wonder what will happen between now and Sunday to this line. Is it going to get up to 6.5? Is it going to touch 7 at some point, or is it going to come back down? I'd have a hard time believing it's coming back down. I feel like, I don't know though. I don't know. It's so hard to say. That's why I'm trying to talk it through, and I can't in my head. So yeah,
that's what I just did. I just talked to myself straight off of the Eagles are going to dominate the game with Barkley too. But yeah, but Daniel Daniels is Superman +6. It's just.
I've been on the wrong side of the Eagles and Commanders this season. There's games where I've got the wrong side of the I got the other side of the Commanders, like the Lions last week. I just had Lions money line and closed a couple parlays, and I'm sitting there and I'm just like, okay, this is the chance. We got to get a stop, 4th and 3, and he'll just slot one right into McLaurin, first down, and you're just like, it's like backbreaking, and you don't know how many of those can you take as a team, right? Like, we'll have to see. Like we said, the Eagles' offense has been pretty one-dimensional, but that one dimension has been so electric that it hasn't mattered. They haven't needed the pass game to really come alive. You wonder how much, the Commanders can take in the run game until it's too much. But we'll find out on Sunday.
Before I get to the Chiefs and the Bills, I do have to say Waddy on Twitter with maybe one of my all-time favorite tweets as he has Caruso from CSI Miami, and it just says, Jake Swollen Moss. Yeah, that is too good, man. That is too good. Jake Swollen Moss. My God, that's funny. Well done, Waddy. I don't know if he's listening right now, but that is hilarious. All right, so if you thought I was morally conflicted with the Commanders Eagles, wait until I dive into the Chiefs and Bills, because I've got some just ridiculous trends and Mahomes stats. But before I even get into it, the one thing I want to talk about is, like, do receivers even matter? Like, if you look at the weapons that both Mahomes and Josh Allen have, like, there's not really technically a household name on either side of, like, nothing against Khalil Shakir and the, invisible Amari Cooper and a young rookie like Keon Coleman, who had like one impressive game so far this year. Patrick Mahomes pretty much only threw the ball last week over the middle to Travis Kelce. You didn't see much from Worthy. Hollywood Brown, I don't even think had a ball thrown his way. Jake, I mean, there's very little impact that I can see from the receivers in this football game.
Well, listen, Dusty, I watched a lot of Patriots football growing up, and guess what? As long as you got the guy at quarterback, it really doesn't matter who you have at receiver.
Yeah.
That's a lot of what I found. Like Philip Dorsett and, good backs who can catch out of the backfield, and James White.
James White, yes.
Edelman, like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't necessarily need to have the big name guy. And I mean, Mahomes, if you look at it, I know Kelsey's a tight end. He is for a long time been the number one receiver on that football team, right?
Yep.
Like, he plays a little bit of different brand of tight end. So he does have that. But yeah, like you said with Josh, he's been doing it all year with this core group of guys. 2 strong tight ends. Knox is a pretty good playoff performer. They got Kincaid, who's been, pretty solid, a guy that was in the house callers a couple times this year. A good back in James Cook, and then like the 3 guys you mentioned, Cooper, Shakir, and Coleman. Like, it's really just a do your job for the Buffalo Bills, right? Josh can get you the ball. You put the ball in the right spot, you expect your guys to go get it. You don't need them to get the contested. You don't need to be JJ, Justin Jefferson, or Jamar Chase. Like, you just got to get the ball to the right spot, let your receivers make a play, and work your way down the field. It feels like it's going to be a surgical game from both sides. Just like, who's going to make the first mistake in the Bills-Chiefs game? That's the way I feel it going.
You are probably right. It could come down to who has the ball at the end. Who makes a mistake or two could definitely change this game. Just some of this stuff here on Patrick Mahomes. Let me just lay this out for you. Like, it disgusts me to be like Huss for a day on this show, but let me just lay out Patrick
I'm putting you on
Mahomes.
mute.
Okay, like somebody has to do it. Patrick Mahomes at home in January and February, at home or in neutral site games, because that would include the Super Bowl. He's 15-2 straight up in January and February, with his 2 losses coming against Joe Burrow and Tom Brady. From November to December to January and February, he's 43-6. Like, these are ridiculous numbers. In the playoffs, Mahomes is 7-0 straight up and against the spread when listed either as an underdog or a favorite of less than a field goal. So that covers this situation.
Yep.
In home games in November or later, when the temperature is 40 degrees or lower, Mahomes is 23-2 straight up in his career. His losses to Phillip Rivers in 2018 and Tom Brady in 2019. Since then, Mahomes has won 20 straight home games in November or later when the temperature is below 40. 20 straight since losing to Brady in 2019 in those conditions. And I mean, it's damn near perfect. So then I sit there and go, yeah, but even when I watched them this year, I wasn't overly impressive. And all he really likes to do, at least last week, was find Travis Kelce over the middle for 10 and 15 and hope he can go a little bit further downfield. And then I look at the Buffalo defense, and I was reading something, I can't remember which site it was on, but they're like, one of the areas that Buffalo struggles is on short passes over the middle. And I was like, oh, no. Like, that's the worst thing you could possibly read in this situation. So I think the Bills have the better running game with Cook. If they can commit, if the Bills can control the clock with their running game and make it so that Patrick Mahomes has to be perfect on a lower number of possessions, maybe that's the path to victory here. I hate to say it. I don't want to see it, but I am going to be on Patrick Mahomes and the freaking Kansas City Chiefs minus the 2 points. I'm puke. I can feel bile in the back of my throat trying to work its way up my esophagus right now because I want to puke so much. But I mean, the numbers just, it's insane. I mean, the dude's near perfect in this spot.
I need someone to superimpose your face onto Cersei's face from Game of Thrones and do the Walk of Atonement. Just shame.
Yeah, I know.
Shame.
I know.
Shame.
I hate it.
I get it though, Dusty. Like I think collectively, as football fans, as NFL fans, I think we're all rooting to not see the Chiefs, unless you're a Chiefs fan, like, of course.
Yeah.
Like, I think most of us are rooting. We just want to see something different, right? How many times have we seen the Chiefs in the Super Bowl over the last 5 years? Like, we're so used to that. We want to see something. And you know what? I totally get why people hated the Patriots, because, like, I'm so sick of seeing the Patriots in the Super Bowl. I'm sick of Tom Brady and I'm sick of the Patriots. I get it now. I'm sick of Mahomes. I'm sick of the Chiefs just waltzing their way to Super Bowls. And it's been impressive. Like, you can't discredit what him and Andy Reid have done, and Kelce, for that matter, have done over these past however many years, 7 years or whatever it's been. But I don't know. I hate betting with my heart, and I know it's not my turn to make a pick yet.
I know. You got time.
Hold off till tomorrow.
You got time.
Like, I do lean towards I can't see them. I don't want to see them in another Super Bowl. I mean, like I said this on Monday's show, ultimate fun Super Bowl is Commanders-Bills. Like, that's the most fun scenario.
That would be an amazing Super Bowl. That would be fun.
But realistically, it's just whatever Super Bowl doesn't include Patrick Mahomes is going to be the ultimate fun Super Bowl for everybody. So we'll see. I know Huss is going to be on here tomorrow. I'm sure he'll listen to this and give me a hard time. But, it's no offense to the Chiefs. They've been so impressive. And like I said, being a Patriots fan all those years, like, I get why people are like, I'm sick of this. I'm done with Tom Brady and the Patriots. And you want to count them out. Well, guess what? Mahomes, 7 straight AFC championships, staring down the barrel of another Super Bowl opportunity.
I don't even know if I'll be able to listen to the show tomorrow while I'm out and about doing hockey stuff. But I know Huss will be like, it's good to see that Dusty has finally converted.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not converting. There's nothing I want more than for the Kansas City Chiefs to lose to the Buffalo Bills. But from an official bet perspective, I think I got to be on the, I think I sadly got to ride with the trends and be on Patrick Mahomes at home in this football game. I was thinking from a Super Bowl perspective, nothing against. I would rather see the Bills in the Super Bowl. Don't get me wrong. I would rather see the Bills in the Super Bowl. However, I think what I would take the most gratification in is watching Jaden Daniels beat Patrick Mahomes as a rookie in a Super Bowl. Like that would be quite the scene if the Commanders could somehow get there and Jaden Daniels picks apart the legendary Kansas City defense and has more composure than Mahomes and isn't flopping all over the field, is just taking his huge hits, which he has multiple times, and bouncing back up like he just is not aware of the situation. That's what I think that would be the most satisfying thing for me to see in the next few weeks. But yeah,
he gets hit like he's in a cartoon, Dusty. He gets hit and he falls back like craziest I've ever seen, where like, that I keep seeing that damn sideline video of Mahomes doing the old like waving the arms, and it's frustrating, man. I tweeted yesterday. I'm not a Bills fan. I think people know that, but I tweeted yesterday, and I was like, every Josh Allen Bills edit comes up. They're all over my Instagram feed, my Reels feed right now.
Yeah.
And I watch every single one, start to finish. Like we need, like I said, I hate the Chiefs, and we need a savior.
Yeah.
I just need Josh and the Bills to find a way to get to the Super Bowl so I don't have to watch the Chiefs on February 9th.
I can't wait for that. Big U saying, Dusty, the line's currently 1.5. Are you taking 2 or 1.5? I'm looking at it. It is 1.5. So I guess I'm on Kansas City. I'll take the minus 1.5 in that situation. If you just like the Chiefs money line, minus 119, and the Buffalo Bills to pull off the slight upset on the money line, plus 101. Just some suggestions. I mean, for house callers tomorrow, you guys can kind of try to put together whatever you think. I mean, I would think James Cook. What's the number on James Cook? Plus 120 on James Cook.
It's not bad. I
don't mind that. I mean, I would certainly throw that into the mix. Saquon's got to be a ridiculously chalky number. Yeah, minus 278. That's a pretty big one.
What are he's scoring, right? Like, I think we can.
Saquon?
Yeah.
He's scoring. What's 2 touchdowns for Saquon? Can we get that?
We can probably get it.
That would be interesting. I mean, I think there'd be some value in Saquon over 1.5 touchdowns, and then pick somebody from the other game as well. You could probably do that. And quick question, because I know Huss will probably bring it up tomorrow. Will there be specials at all for this weekend, like the leading rusher and stuff? Will you guys have those up at some point, or is it just because there's only 2 games? That's tough.
Yeah, I'd imagine we'd probably get them up maybe by end of day today.
Yeah.
Just keep an eye there. I think I haven't heard that we wouldn't be doing it, which makes me assume that we are, but I can also double check with our guys for that as well. So we want Barkley 2+ TDs. Let me just make a note here. Yeah. Barkley 2+ TDs, and then the conference specials. Also, ton of combos right now, including the EST early bird, which you guys made yesterday. If you scroll right to the end, it's there. Plus 281 right now for Commanders, plus 6.5. We actually had the Bills in there because yesterday they were plus 2, so I went to 2.5.
Oh, a little road dog special.
So yeah, I did. I love that road dog. The sound.
It's a great clip, isn't it? Yeah.
Every time. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's about 30% of the reason we ever pick a road dog is just to play that clip, like unjustified road dog plays.
He purposely takes road dog so he can hear the clip. Super Boost tonight. Quinn Hughes and Draisaitl both to record a point. That'll be a game that most people are watching anyways. So if you want to get on that, it's even money boosted from minus 145. We've got a Lamplighters, Kaprizov, Draisaitl, Ovechkin, all the score plus 985. A points from the point. Lane Hudson, Quinn Hughes, and Evan Bouchard all to record a point plus 369. Still got it. Sid and Ovi both 2+ points. That's over 10-1.
Oh, wow.
I mentioned the EST early bird, and then we also have a shots to Brinkat, Panarin, Hyman, all over 2.5 shots at plus 5 32. So the combos are pretty boosted up. Your exclusive is there for Edmonton Sports Talk. We'll probably have some conference weekend exclusives as well. Probably a few for each game will be the plan, and we'll go from there.
All righty. Well, all of that available over at coolbet.com, and make plans. Circle it on your calendar next Wednesday night, 8 o'clock Edmonton time. Lock Shop Poker Series event number 5. It'll be an amazing night. Very much looking forward to that. We've got 2 guys in goalie coming up. I have to take off, so it will be Glue Guy. Jay Milne's going to step in with Gager and Cass. Glue guys and a goalie today, I guess. That works out kind of well, actually. I don't mind that. That's going to be happening. And then I'm off tomorrow. I will be back on a Monday where we are hopefully previewing a Bills Commanders Super Bowl. That would be great. For Jake Swollen Moss, I am Dustin Nielson. Thank you for joining us today. Best of luck tonight. And Lock Shop will be back tomorrow.